Here we are live at the 360 Vegas studios with this edition of School Police Talk. We have Lieutenant Campbell here. I asked him to come here because I wanted to talk about a few different things. Over the years, one of the things that we have known that you're very passionate about is school zone safety and people speeding through school zones, just people not paying attention.
So the biggest thing is we try to ask parents, students, staff members, if when you're coming to the school, just try to get there earlier. The earlier the better. That way you don't feel that necessity to speed because you're running late for work or you're running behind getting your kid to the class. And we always say that if you're speeding anywhere in Las Vegas, it's not really going to save you any time, maybe a few minutes. But on the flip side of that, it could cause somebody their life. And even if you're not found at fault as the driver, it's just something that's going to probably scar you as a driver, as an adult, and something that you're going to remember for the rest of your life. So we just ask people to leave early, slow down, and when you're talking about the kids crossing the street or running in the street, a lot of that is knowing the route and being familiar with the school. If it's something that it's the beginning of the year, we see a lot of that, but it shouldn't be like a quarter or a third of the school year is over and you're still doing those same bad habits, like doing the U-turns when you come into the school zone instead of coming from the other way.
Oh.
So if you know where you're going to drop your kid off, which would be the passenger side of the vehicle towards the school, would be probably the safest.
Oh.
So when a kid gets out, he's on the school property and he doesn't have to venture out into a crosswalk. He doesn't have to run across lanes. It's just planning that. A lot of schools have those drop-off, like the kiss and goes that they call them, that are great. If the staff's on board and the school can do it, great. But not all schools have the staff or the time or people wanting to volunteer their time to make those happen. So all of that is like, staff members going out there and doing things that are not really part of their job. But I think the first time you hear somebody say, that's not my job, or they start to think about that, it kind of jeopardizes the whole meaning of being attached to the school district. Anything that can keep a kid safe, in my opinion, is my job. Whether it's a police thing or it's just checking on a kid that's walking home or making sure they're okay if they look distraught. It goes so far. So there's a lot of staff members that go above and beyond to make these kids safe every day. So the biggest thing is knowing your route. You don't have to do the U-turns. You don't have to stop in the middle of the road. You don't have to cut people off. And then leaving early so you don't have to speed are the biggest things that we see in the morning.
Yeah. I was going to say that I never even thought about the fact of that, to be able to plan ahead so that you can drop the child off on the right-hand side. It's probably the little things as a parent, right, to ensure the child's safety as best as they can. And so when someone is approaching the school and they have the blinking lights, right? Sometimes they're overhead, sometimes
there's different locations where it's going to go from 25 to 15 and you don't need a whole ton of reaction time to slow down 10 miles per hour. And that's if they're actually going 25 in the 25.
Right.
But there's a lot of different locations like Spring Valley High School, which that might be that bottom picture there with the U-turn, the bottom corner. That's, I think, Buffalo, which is 45 usually and goes into a 15. So when you see that flashing light, yeah, there needs to be more time for you to see something and then react to that something.
All right, so we'll wave right here. Goodbye, okay? All right, see you later.